thumbs up.
I think we're live.
Whoa, dude, you got like 327,406 people online. That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, here we are with Brian Scudamore. For those of you checking in, just in beautiful Vancouver, BC, it's probably, what would you say, 20 degrees, 25?
Sunny and warm.
Sunny and warm, no complaints there. Both rocking the black t-shirt, no plans there. And for those of you checking in, we're doing a LinkedIn live session here. If you want to leave a comment below, mention where you're listening from, what kind of brought you to the conversation. But Brian Scudamore is a Vancouver-based entrepreneur, founder, and CEO of O2E Brands, which is a parent company of Shack Shine, Wow One Day Painting, You Move Me,
one more.
and
what's the biggest one? What's the first started?
1-800-GOT-JUNK.
There you go.
I was trying to let the comments come in. We're seeing some comments come in now, but basically just to give an overview of this chat, it's going to be a pretty standard Q&A, learning more about Brian's story as an entrepreneur, his advice for companies, developing a culture, and how to scale. And then lastly, a little bit about his recent book, WTF, which he'll share what that stands for in a little bit. But for Brian, for those checking in just now, do you want to share a bit about your story and kind of what's brought you to here?
Sure. So it's been almost 30 years. Started the business in March of 1989. Was in a McDonald's drive-through trying to figure out how I was going to pay for college. Saw a beat up old pickup truck in front of me with plywood side panels built up on the box, and looked at the truck and said, what a great idea. I'm going to go buy a truck, pay for college. And ironically, what funded my college education, I bought a truck, of course, started the Rubbish Boys with a vision for, it was just me, but a vision for something bigger. And I started the business, but ironically was inspired to drop out of school. Had 3 years of my 4-year degree under my belt, 1 year left in university, and I approached my dad and said, I'm learning more about business by studying on the street than I am studying in school. And he couldn't believe his oldest son was dropping out to become a full-time junk man, and the rest is history.
And I understand your dad was from the medical field, is that correct?
Yeah, he's a liver transplant surgeon, still working today.
Yeah.
And for him to go, hey, he did a ton of school and education and got a bunch of degrees, and there's me not even getting one. I've gone to 14 schools from kindergarten through to university, and the only one I've received a diploma from is kindergarten.
There you go. And what was his reaction when your dad used one of the O2E brands for the first time?
So, I mean, when my dad, his reaction when I left school, of course, was, I'm crazy. And it took years, at least a decade for him to come on board. What was his reaction when he used one of my companies? Well, 1-800-GOT-JUNK, obviously using my company, I'm not going to charge him.
Yeah.
He's my dad, so of course he was impressed.
Family and friends benefit, I like that.
Free service, yeah.
And then when you were in university and kind of making that jump, how did you internalize that decision? And does that look different for every entrepreneur out there, or do you believe there's a 1-2 step action plan where someone can internalize that and just take the next step?
Well, I knew that the decision was not necessarily going to prove to be the right one. I didn't know that I was going to succeed, but I was willing to try.
Yeah.
The book, as you mentioned, WTF stands for willing to fail. I was willing to fail. I was willing to throw it all on the line. I said to my dad, listen, university will always be there. My business opportunity might not be. So if this doesn't work, what do I lose? My $700 investment in my truck, a couple of years or so of running the business and failing? I can go back to university and then decide to either try a new opportunity after that, or I think there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. That's how we succeed. I was just listening to a podcast that we actually did as well called How I Built This with Guy Raz. I was listening to Chip Wilson's podcast on How I Built This. And, he failed at West Beach, but considered that he had an 18-year MBA. He had 18 years of learning from a failed business, which gave him enough confidence and new information to then try and make Lululemon work.
And I guess bird's eye view of O2E Brands since dropping out of university. Can you explain kind of a couple key milestones that's brought us to this day, and then also what brand under the group was the most difficult to scale?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think, let me answer the first part. What was the most difficult one to scale? I mean, 1-800-GOT-JUNK has been now 30 years, 20 years of franchising. It took me 8 years to get to $1 million in revenue. Then we do $1 million on any given day today. That's how quickly it's grown, over $300 million.
Including the family benefits?
Exactly, yeah. So we've grown to be a $444 million business is our current run rate with all of the O2E brands. But in the question, what was the hardest to scale? Probably 1-800-GOT-JUNK, because the first copy is the tough one. You've got to figure out the systems, the processes. We then started Wow One Day Painting, where we said we'd paint people's homes in a day, and that model proved to be a great idea, but a tough one to scale in the beginning until we got some confidence from customers that, wow, you can paint homes in a day, and the quality is the same, and the price is reasonable, and we got some confidence behind our customers that gave us some momentum, but we grew that company much more quickly than we did 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
For sure.
And then you move me and Shack Shine, same sort of pattern has happened, is you take some learnings, you make some new mistakes, but like children, I mean, 4 brands, they're all different personalities, they're all part of the O2E Brands family, which stands for ordinary to exceptional. Ordinary businesses like junk removal, exceptional through customer service. Everything we've done fits that model. And now I've forgotten the first question. You give me 2 questions.
No, I think you hit them both.
Okay, good.
Jumping into the next one, before we get to questions, again, if you're tuning in, feel free to drop a note below, share where you're coming in from, and if you have any questions. Spinning out of the culture side of things, when you talk about O2E stands for turning ordinary brand into exceptional service. When we look at that exceptional service, I think people understand that they can identify how to create those exceptional experiences when they have smaller teams. When it's just a couple people, that personable experience. You guys have grown, I believe, from a couple people now to 6,000 people across all brands in franchise. Is that correct?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's impossible to track because we've got 250 franchise partners. Many of them have different numbers of employees, and it's hard to perfectly track, but that's about the estimate. And what we love is we love seeing someone start in the trucks and then grow up and own their own franchise, become a general manager, whatever the case might be. But it's inspiring entrepreneurship where people come into our family and they learn about business and they light up in a way that they never thought they ever could.
And then looking at kind of that franchise relationship, what advice would you give for other brands looking to almost, I'd say, duplicate or amplify their culture when they make that jump from 10 to 100 to 1,000, and what would your advice be there? Yeah,
I think it's related to your other question of how do you take a couple of people and start to scale. It's easy to build an exceptional or deliver an exceptional service if you've got a handful of people that you're always talking to, you got a daily huddle, but as things start to grow, the only way I've seen that we can make it work is finding the right people and treating them right. Just scaling the culture by hiring people that are like us. We want diversity, we want people that have different personalities, but we call it the beer and barbecue test. Would I or anyone interviewing someone go have a beer with someone? Do you think they're interested? Do they have a shared common passion? Do they have a fire burning inside them that they want to see themselves grow with you? And the barbecue test, how would they fit within the whole company? Again, diversity and unique personalities, but do they blend in? Do they feel like they're a contributor in that company barbecue and that culture? Yeah, jumping onto a bit of a, I don't want to say hot topic right now, but the millennial world. I'm sure you hire the brand that's either the first or second interaction usually with people's working world, kind of depending where they are at the brand. And so my question to you is, you set out kind of the vision and leadership and execution for the brands. What is your number one frustration with maybe younger people, something that they can change? And what's your number one surprise? Yeah, I don't have frustrations with millennials as a group. I mean, we love entrepreneurs. We love people that want to come in and learn about how to build a business. They might not have had a brand of their own or an idea. They might not have had a structure in which to springboard off of. So they join us and we help them. A lot of people, I think, instead of going to university, should get out and start a franchise or should go learn from another mentor. I mean, you're part of a great business with an awesome family who the Scudamores have built some pretty awesome things, and you're getting a perfect MBA
For sure.
on the streets, right?
Yeah.
That's essentially what we're providing is people get in and they start a franchise. They might borrow some money from family or friends, and they learn as they go. You know, I think if someone wants to be a doctor or a lawyer, you got to go to school. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to run a business, learn by doing. That's the best way. I think that's at people's fingertips.
On that doing note, when we look at habits and how we spend our time, what would your personal favorite habit be, or daily discipline that you think has yielded amazing results for either your personal life or professional life?
Yeah, so I get up at 5:55 a.m. almost every morning.
Yeah.
And the first thing I do is I take out my iPhone and I've got a note in there, what's my daily intention? So I write the date and I write what my daily intention is, and it's something that helps make that day better. And so it could be get on the Peloton before I go to work. It could be make sure to find some quiet time at the end of the day and go for a walk with the dog in the forest, but something that just helps me stay grounded, stay mindful, stay connected to my purpose and my why. And the days that I set my intention and I'm mindful of that, always better days than days that I forget to do it.
And before we jump to the book, one last question on the social media side of things. I think I've noticed that, and a lot of people have, that you've been an entrepreneur and a business leader that's truly leveraged social media and just the world of touching people with a story. And I'm curious, what would be your response when people say social media is for some businesses, and where do you kind of see the future of social media storytelling developing?
I think we're in the storytelling age more than ever. We're creating our own news. I mean, look what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
LinkedIn Live. And,
That's right.
You know, millions are watching. No, but it's one of those things where if you've got a story to share with the world, if you've got something that's going to help inspire and change the world, get out there and tell it, one viewer at a time. And so social media for me is a bit of a chance for us as a company to share and tell successes, challenges, learnings, things that we've done as a business that can help others. We invite people into the Junction, the head office, all the time, and anyone that's listening can is welcome to come in here if they want to send a note. But people coming into our office, they get to see our huddle and learn about how we run our business. And so I think why not use social media to do good, to help others and share best practices.
And what's been your favorite social media kind of, I want to say, maneuver, whether that's Dr. Phil, Oprah, NASDAQ, all these ways that you've been able to creatively tell your story? What's one of your favorite accomplishments for that?
I don't know if it's the big ones as much as it is just little moments. I was in Manhattan a few months ago, a couple of trips, and I started, every time I saw a truck, I'd go up to them and film them and say, hey, do you know who I am? And they'd say no, and I was disappointed. But the third truck I ran into, they're like, oh yeah, you're Brian Scudamore. You're the founder of the company. It was just fun to be playful with the truck teams and get a chance to put them on social media and have a lot of fun. So I don't, the Oprahs and the Fortunes of the world, those are amazing big media hits, but I think the small little social media things you can do have little moments that are pretty fun.
And then jumping on the book note, what was kind of the heart behind the book, and how hard was it to just finish that?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy. I'm not the best reader in the world. I like to write, but I'm so ADD that it's hard to get an entire book out. I have a co-author, Roy H. Williams, the Wizard of Ads, who was phenomenal and helped make it easier for me. But we wrote a book together because he encouraged me to share our stories so we can inspire people to go from ordinary to exceptional. It's a way of being for us. And whether someone joins us as an employee to learn from us, to learn with us, or if somebody joins as a franchise owner and builds an exceptional business, the belief is build something bigger and better together. So why not tell the stories and help inspire other people to be bigger and better, whether, again, with O2E Brands or whatever they're doing out in the world, and it's fun. It's really fun having a great idea that starts to spread. And so the book got to be our ideas and lessons learned on why did we fail, what would we have done differently, how did that failure become a gift for doing something better.
And how are we doing for time for your schedule?
We're probably getting close. Yeah.
So while I look for maybe a question or two from the audience, can you share with people where you see O2E in 10, 20 years? I heard you're off a retreat recently, so feel free to share that while I find a question.
No, I think O2E Brands for us is we've realized that we're helping people change lives. You know, whether it's customers' lives or you know, people here at the Junction who are working and developing their leadership, or people as owners out in our franchise system. We've got 250 plus franchise owners who many of them started with nothing and have built multi-million-dollar businesses and have incredible lives. There was a guy, Josh, who's a franchise partner in Kansas City, and he was up here visiting, and he's like, this has changed my life. You guys have changed my life. And I said, no, you've changed your own life. But we get to be a part of it, which is what's rewarding and exciting. So I think, the future of O2E Brands, you know, will be $1 billion brand one day and beyond. But what's most exciting for us is it's never been about the money, it's about the opportunity. It's about the passion that we get to see that people get from the world of entrepreneurship.
One question that came up was just around rest as the summer approaches. I think there's been a couple articles about you taking Fridays off or weekends off. What would you say establishes that balance between the hustle, quote unquote, and just finding rest to be content with where you're at? And where do you draw that line?
Sure, I mean, you can't go to the gym and work out every single day hard. So a business is no different. You need breaks, you need time to recharge. And I've known a lot of entrepreneurs that have burned the candle at both ends for too long, and they either, you know, leave the business, burn out, sell, lose a marriage, whatever the case might be. I think that you've got to learn to have those moments like I do most Fridays where I take out of the office so that I can hang with family, go skiing, go on the paddleboard, whatever the case might be, to take care of myself. So I work hard, I work very hard, everybody here does, but I've known as a leader that I can't be switched on all the time, and it's finding that time for myself to switch off. And my most creative ideas seem to come when I'm walking the dog in the forest or hanging out on the ski slopes. Awesome.
Well, thanks again for taking time for the chat.
Awesome.
If people are looking to learn to stay more in touch with your story or just kind of follow you, is there any outlets they should be?
I know we're on LinkedIn. I'm maxed out with connections, and I don't know what to do about that.
Totally.
But Instagram at Brian Scudamore.
Okay.
You can always send me a direct message, a note if you want to come for a tour at the Junction, or if there's ever anything we can do to help.
Okay. Well, thanks again, and appreciate you taking time.
Okay.
Thanks,
everybody.
We'll see you.